Good. You know your alphabet.
I'd like to take his face off.
Welcome to Enter the Cage, where we review the films of our greatest national treasure, Hollywood's most interesting man, Nicolas Cage. I'm Tyler Flynn, and I'm joined as always by my co-hosts Nate Treese.
Hi!
And Bonnie Jordan.
Hello.
We're also joined by our first co-host, guest star, our good college friend and buddy and Tumblr icon, Rachael.
Hello.
Thanks for being on, Rachael. We appreciate it.
Anytime.
Really? Seriously?
Yeah, anytime. Anytime.
From here on in, you're in every episode.
Oh,
that's a handshake contract right there.
oh dear. Oh.
So, what we like to do with our guest hosts is ask them, like last week that we did, their first Nick Cage experience. So, Rachael, when were you first introduced to the wonder that is Nicolas Cage?
I was maybe like 7 years old, and I watched Con Air 4 times on TV.
4 times, wow.
It was the only thing on TV. We were like moving cross country. We were in a hotel room, and there was just playing Con Air like over and over. It was like the movie of the night on the movie channel.
I was going to say, I remember that year where Con Air was the only thing that was on television for the whole broadcast
shaped
season.
my childhood. No, it was like one of the, I don't know, it was like one of the chain, it was like a hotel chain, and there was their movie channel.
The Nick Cage channel? That would be amazing. They would play
the same movies, like on, that would be like, I don't know, maybe it's cheaper. You only have to pay for the licensing for one movie.
So, Con Air at age 7, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It was an edited version.
Even so.
Well, it was still bizarre. A good one. To this day, so I saw Con Air like multiple times then, and I don't think I've actually sat down and watched it as an adult. So I'm still not 100% sure like where Con Air ends and begins. Because I knew who Nick Cage was like later on, like National Treasures happening and things like that, and I did actually have to be told, oh yeah, Nick Cage is the guy from Con Air, and I didn't believe it. I literally didn't realize that they are the same person. His hairstyles throw you off.
That was
movies,
probably the first movie that he like made a conscious effort to look like very different from how he normally looked. You know, like I mean, I think that like even in like some of his more like dramas and stuff from like the 80s and early 90s and stuff, he's still like, you know, he might have like a goatee or a mustache or something, or like a different hair color, but it wasn't really until Con Air that he looked very different from how he normally looks. And now we're not sure what he really looks like at rest.
The face is the brand. It's part of the brand.
Yeah. All right, well, that's a great intro. We're going to move on to our newest segment that we like to call... So, Fake Fact Face Off is basically our elaborate way of playing two truths and a lie. In this segment, we're going to have one of us tell 2 truths and a lie about Nick Cage's career, and the rest of us have to guess which one is fake. So this week, Nate is going to take the lead. So, Nate, hit us with your facts.
Okay. I did have a brief conversation with Tyler off mic earlier about how difficult it was to come up with a lie that matched the craziness of all the truths I found about this man. We're not so much going with career stuff. It's just general, this week anyways, I'm going with just sort of general interesting biographical information about the man. So are you guys ready for your Nick Cage facts?
Yes.
Ready. Do it.
Okay. Nicolas Cage fact number 1. It's nice and simple. Nicolas Cage has a tattoo of a lizard wearing a top hat on his back. Fact number 2. In a 2010 interview with a London newspaper, Cage revealed he chooses which animals to eat based on their mating practices. And Nicolas Cage fact number 3. Since 2006, Cage has been signing documents with a custom security pen which contains ink mixed with small amounts of his blood and sperm. Tyler?
Yes,
Guess
Nate.
which one of these is not true.
Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure the lizard tattoo one is real. I think I remember reading that somewhere. So it's between the security pin and the mating ritual. I'm gonna go with C.
Okay,
the blood and semen thing.
You think the security pin is the one that is fake?
Yes.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay. You will wait until it's your turn.
Sit down.
Bonnie, what's the fake?
I think the lizard top hat one is fake.
Okay. All right.
Now it's my turn. Is it my turn now?
Yes.
I think the pen one is fake. The security pen. There's no way.
Okay. Are you guys ready to hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you like a drum roll?
Yeah, if you can put one in post, that'd be great. Okay, so the one that is fake is indeed number 3, the security pen.
Yeah!
Thank the Lord.
Air 5,
Now,
Rachel. Woo!
Now, it is true that a lot of celebrities do use security pens that have saliva or blood or something just to make it easier to verify signatures and things like that for collecting reasons. And I just thought it would be a fun twist if Nicolas Cage's had a little something extra in there. But
in case you want to grow your own cage.
Who
I think that's
want
probably
to clone
the reason,
an army of Nick Cages? That would
that's
be
probably
amazing.
the reason why he doesn't do it.
The only reason.
He was probably told, look, Nick, I know you want to do this, but we don't want it out there. So yeah, there's a picture that goes back to I think 1991 of him with the tattoo of a lizard wearing a top hat on his back.
What was the significance of that? I remember reading about it somewhere.
I did not bother looking that up. I just thought it was much more interesting to just know without knowing any context behind it.
Okay.
Now, but that of course means, guys, that the second one that I read to you is, in fact, true. That Nicolas Cage did say that he chooses which animals to eat as part of his diet based on their mating practices. He had said that he told, I think it was the London Sun in 2010, he said that he likes fish and birds because their mating is very dignified, but he will not eat the meat of pigs for the opposite reason.
You just got to imagine Nick Cage going to a farm or a zoo to
taking
watch the
notes.
animals.
Or just
scale 1 to 10 stars.
Or just his YouTube account is nothing but videos of
amateur footage. Monkeys have sex on dashboard. Oh boy.
And okay, so good work, guys. We accomplished this. Fantastic. I don't have another round for you guys because I really thought that I was going to get the wrong answer from 2 of you.
Well, we know more about the Cageosaurs than you think.
That's true. And I look forward to being stumped the next time around.
All right. Moving on. We are now moving into our movie segment, and this week's review is Valley Girl.
Julie's cool. Randy's hot. She's from the valley. He's not. Valley Girl.
Oh, bitchin', is this in 3D? No, but your face is.
Oh my god, you guys, this movie is totally tubular.
I'm so sure.
For sure. Totally.
So we're going to start off with a little bit of an overview of the film, and then we'll get into the semantics and our criticisms and comments. So this movie was released in 1983. It tells the story of Julie and Randy, 2 young teens from different sides of the tracks. Julie is from the Valley, hence the title Valley Girl, and Nicolas Cage is from Hollywood. They end up meeting at a party one night, and they're both kind of star-crossed.
What are you doing here?
Well, it's a party.
Yeah, I know it's a party, but who invited you?
Oh, wow, you mean you have to be invited? That explains it.
What?
Well, everyone is dressed weird. See, if I had been invited, I would have known this was a costume party.
Right.
They start dating each other in secret, but the opinions of their...
Do they?
What?
Are they secretly dating?
No, not at all.
Kind of.
It's
Isn't
not
it
even
kind
a
of
little
like a
bit
bit?
secret.
Well, okay, let's get into this, but I disagree with you on that, and I will confront you about this.
Okay. So they're dating, but the social structures of their two friends kind of get in between them, and they end up breaking up, and we're trying to see if they'll ever be able to rekindle their romance by the end. So that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. So let's jump into your thoughts.
Do I get to
Anyone
start?
can start. Go ahead.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll jump in. I didn't care for this movie that much.
Thank goodness.
No,
I'm not alone.
you're wrong. It's a good movie.
I liked the soundtrack. You know, a lot of like post-punk kind of new wave type stuff going on. I actually read that it was the montage in the middle of the movie that kind of popularized the song "Melt with You" by Modern English in the United States, and so I guess we owe it for that. I like E.G. Daly, who plays Lauren. She's like a renowned voice actress now.
She did Tommy in the Rugrats and Buttercup in Powerpuff Girls.
And she also was the singing voice of the boy in 2.5 Men for the first 6 seasons when they do the opening.
Oh.
Where they sing the little barbershop quartet version of the opening theme song.
And she was Dottie in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That's right.
She was. I wish she was the main character of the movie.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
She was way more interesting.
She's more fun and energetic.
She was really cute.
I liked the idea of like her having like parents who are kind of like hippies who kind of, you know, are like not strict parents. They're just kind of, you know, they still worry about her and stuff, but they're just kind of cool, you know. Although it was weird because like she's like part of like royalty at the school, I guess. Not that we ever see anything going on in their school that much, but it's like there's not really any like pressure for her to stop dating this guy except from like her two friends.
Yeah, the whole conflict is very superficial. I mean,
and they're being and the guy like Tommy, like he's the worst. Like none of her friends even like act like they talk about how great he is and why and like how it's crazy, but she keeps saying like, I'm not happy with him, he ignores me, he treats me terrible, and they're like, you just need to get back together with him. I'm sure he'd take you back if you were just nice. And she's like, no, he's the worst. And they're like, well,
you should do it anyway. You can't be friends with us.
Try harder.
You can't sit with us.
And also let me just pose a rhetorical question. What the fuck was up with that weird like statutory like subplot? Like the one subplot, there's literally
that was the most awkward scene in the entire movie. Like the weirdest seduction
there's no
ever.
Other subplots in the entire movie. Like I feel like there were a lot of subplots that they just got rid of because they either didn't have enough time or just couldn't figure out what to do. But the one that survived is like the least developed of Julie's friends, and she like has this weird subplot where her stepmom is trying to like fuck the delivery boy, and then it's like and then it just really abruptly ends. That didn't need to be in there.
My favorite subplot was at the prom when they were asking who forgot to bring the cups. That was riveting. That was an amazing part.
That was tense.
I feel like that was an improv line.
And they gave that subplot.
They gave that like 5 minutes of screen time. Just did you bring the cups?
They
no, I forgot the cups. I thought he was bringing the cups.
And also, like, I don't pretend to know much about like the punk scene in Hollywood at the time, but that is like even by today, even I feel like even by the standards of 1983, the type of music and like the attitude of like the punks in like Hollywood was like the most non-threatening thing ever. Like I don't get why is it Stacy or Susie that was like the friend that Julie dragged along with her
I
Who
think it was
cares?
Susie.
Okay, yeah, irrelevant, I suppose. But like, why would she feel unsafe at all when they're just playing like some like shitty like new wave synth rock music?
Because
my
it was the
favorite
bad part of
is how they're
town.
like,
He's a rebel from the wrong side of the street.
hardcore and punk. And
Well,
they're
like
all
his
like hardcore and punk, and then they run up. He yells at an actual gang member, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 too far, too far, too far!" Whoa, whoa, whoa. Like those are like actual, like no, 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 no. You just go back, go back.
He looked like actually mentally insane in that scene.
Yeah. And his buddy Fred, like, kind of actually looks like a punk, but the whole time Nicolas Cage, he's not dressing, he's not like wearing like particularly punk clothes. He's not behaving like particularly punk-ish, you know? And I just like I didn't buy, like, he was basically, apart from the fact that he wasn't wearing like a polo shirt with a popped collar like everybody from like the Valley, there was nothing separating him from like the other dudes.
Yeah, that was a weird thing when they first walk into the party. At first I thought that Nicolas Cage and his friend were in a gang that wore red and black clothing. But then like everyone else knows that they're not supposed to be there, and I couldn't tell why, because everyone's fashion is so wild and colorful that it's like,
think they were a couple?
What? So the whole class distinction is kind of not really well defined.
Right. And then also when and also I don't get like what's going on with her friend like Stacy either, because it seemed like she actually was kind of getting into Fred, right? Because they make out after like some playful chasing around the car. But then she talks about it like it was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, that could have been another subplot that they left out.
I feel like it was.
I will admit, the beginning of the movie, I really hated it, like the first 15 minutes, because it reminded me a lot of the original Buffy movie, where they're trying way too hard to make the dialogue sound hip and cool, and all the girls are talking over each other constantly, so you can never tell what's going on.
Yeah, I hate when people talk over other people.
Touche.
Well, no. Yeah. I Googled this movie because I wanted to put off watching it. So I Googled it, and it said that they did a lot of research and did a lot of practice in using like actual Valley dialect, like all like so the very first scene in the movie where they're all talking over each other and there's just like mountains and mountains of dialects and like slang words is them speaking like actual Valley girls that they observed at a mall. And then the rest of the movie, it's used very sparingly for the sake of clarity.
Right.
Like I did read that was like the only like really authentic scene in the movie was when they're just like talking over each other and they're just using tons and tons of slang, and it's very heavy on the dialect.
I was fine with that. I actually liked kind of the establishing shot, like because if the whole movie had just been like you know, shooting the mall and like them kind of talking in like the dialect and sort of all the bright colors and stuff, and them just kind of being gal pals, that actually like would have probably been pretty good, right? But then it gets into this like really weak plot later, and you know, like the fact that they're not using distracting authentic dialect, kind of there's nothing to disguise the fact that this plot doesn't make any sense and is terrible.
When they're in the mall, the whole scene where Julie breaks up with Tommy for the first time just comes out of nowhere. Like, I'm not happy. You don't pay attention with me. We're done. Like, why? There's no setup to his character. We haven't seen him do anything particularly mean or bad. It's just a plot point to move the story along.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who said that this was Romeo and Juliet? Did one of you say that, or did I read that somewhere?
There's a part in the montage where they're under the marquee of the movie, and it says Romeo and Juliet.
It's loosely,
but it's like flipped, because it's like she's Romeo, where she's got someone and she's just gotten rid of them, and then she like looks across the party and sees the guy that she's gonna be with. But then from there on out, there's no actual like conflict keeping them apart. So
yeah.
That's where the parallel ends, right there.
Yeah.
Because
pretty much.
Like the only thing, and literally it really felt to me too, like the scene where, and I liked the actors who played her parents, by the way, especially her dad.
Yeah, they were good.
Like the scene where her dad's like, you know what, you got to do what's in your heart. I was like, oh, okay, so she's gonna like, despite the fact that her friends in only one scene, you know, like pressured her to like get back together with Tommy. Like, despite that, she's going to go with her heart and you know, and continue to be with Randy. Randy. and then that doesn't happen. And it's also like it also felt like a subplot too, where like Lauren kind of messes around a little bit with Tommy, and then he basically reveals himself as being like a terrible person.
That was a really interesting and weird scene to me because, like you said, they're messing around, and she's asking, "Are we going to be a couple now?" And he's like, "No, we're not." Why would he say that? If his goal is to have sex with her, wouldn't he just lie and then sleep with her and then afterwards say, "No, we're not. We're done. It was just for this one moment."
Well, because when she said that, he realized that this wasn't going to be like a fling at a party, and that she was going to demand more from him, and he was not down for that. So he blackmailed her. He was like, "Don't tell anybody, or I'm gonna tell him."
Yeah, but if he's tell your friends that and his goal is to just get in her pants, then why not lie and do it and then break up with her? Like it just seems backwards. Like it would have made more sense in.
Well, I don't think she wanted to go any further unless because
unless she got that confirmation.
I don't think she was going to go any further unless she like heard him say, "Yeah, we are."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could have said that and then but lied about it, and then after they had sex, say, "Oh, I'm done. I was just making a joke. We're not going to be together."
They needed to show he was a scoundrel in a much shorter time than that would have taken. Also, the only reason they needed to show that he was such a horrible person was so that you wouldn't hate the girl, whatever her name is, the main female character.
I feel like she should have
who decides that she's bored with him and is like gonna go off with the next dude at the party. Like you have to hate him more than her.
I feel like
or you won't be on board for any of the movie.
I feel like her friend should have had that should have come up though at some point, that she was fooling around with Tommy.
That's what I'm saying.
She tried.
There's even a scene where she's like, I don't know, like, maybe Tommy's not that great either. And it's like, I think you know for a fact that Tommy's not that great. So
did anyone else notice in the scene on the beach when they first see Nick Cage running up and they're commenting on how sexy he is, that his chest hair is in that weird like V shape?
Was so uncomfortable.
I did not notice that.
Okay, I read in the biography of him that I'm going through right now that he specifically shaved his chest hair to look like Superman in that scene. So, fun fact of the day.
I mean,
that's glorious.
It'll come up a lot on this podcast, but I can't believe that man didn't get the chance to play Superman.
Nick Cage loves Superman. So.
Poor Nick Cage.
I feel like this movie could have benefited from a better editor. Like, you could take out maybe 15 minutes and it would have been a much tighter film. There's a lot of lingering shots.
Well, when did the actual conflict start? Because they start dating and they have a montage, and then she's dating him and talking about him to her friends, and then they don't break up until like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. And then they have like
literally nothing happens for the first like hour and a half of this movie.
They have like a very uncomfortable montage of him like in disguise. Like
that was so weird. Like I kept expecting him to show up in Groucho glasses. Like he's not even trying with these costumes.
The part where there's some great moments of like some good Nick Cage method acting there, because there's like the scene where he's like, I don't know, like did he get jobs at all these places where he was like popping up, or did he just like disguise? Did he just like knock him out like karate chop, like really throw their like Hitman style, put them in a dumpster, and then take like their outfits? I love the part where he's taking tickets and the guy's like, and Tommy goes, "Oh, because he knows he's wearing 3D glasses." No, but your face is. I was like, yes, it is. That's correct.
Best line of the movie.
How many?
That's when it became a Nick Cage movie. Like he spends the first hour of the movie kind of looking like he just wandered. Like he looks really
like
sad and upset, and like he doesn't know like what movie set am I on. Like he just wanders around. And then when he gets drunk and runs around and screams at people in public, and then it wears like 5 costumes in a montage, like then you're, oh, Nick Cage, there you are.
Yeah.
I wondered when you were gonna get here.
Yeah, he does like a little accent or something when he's the fry cook guy too. He's like, "Hey, spit out of my gum!
Drop your gum in your lap!"
That's great.
I liked and like I don't know if you noticed, but in a lot of the party scenes, there's in the background a lot of extras looking directly at the camera, so you could tell these are like non-professional actors.
It's a lot of like friends and students, I think.
Yeah.
Was
that
anyone
a lot
else
of
like supremely annoyed by the friend Julie? I think
Well, no,
just
Julie's
like
the
the main character.
No, sorry, not the friend Julie. Stacy. Stacy is what I mean.
Yeah.
Which one's Stacy again?
She's the one that like she kidnaps to go on the date.
Yeah.
And she's just so like not into it the whole time, and it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
How she's complaining and wants to go home.
Although, like Nate said, it seemed like she started to get into Nick Cage's friend by the end, but then completely reversed her opinion the next day. So it was weird.
And by the way, that scene where they're like just like giggling and talking, so if not at all paying attention while they're like student driving, I'm like, I guess I'm just getting too old because I was like, stop fucking talking and pay attention. Keep your eyes on the fuck you. This man is making such little money. He went to a class for 6 months so that he could get his extra driver's education license so that he could teach, and you're just ruining things.
That
for
was
him.
one of the most unclear joke attempts, I think, because in the one scene they're driving and you see this instructor in the front seat and then cuts to like the back and then the instructor's gone. Are we supposed to assume that he jumped out of the car for fear of driving, or did he just fall out?
Supposed to have jumped out of the car.
I have no.
Yeah, you see him jump out in one of the shots.
Really?
I did
not see that at all.
Yeah.
And
you see him kind of like rolling away outside of the like off to
like
the
if
corner.
they had kept the camera on him and he's like, "You're gonna crash," and then jumped out, that would have been funny. But he just shows up outside the car in the next scene. Like, what happened? Where did he go?
But also, like, they're just going in circles, like in the parking lot too. It's not like you're on the road, so that's like very melodramatic to jump out of a car that's going like 10 miles an hour in the parking lot.
Speaking of the whole time thing, in most movies they usually play a montage with like a snippet of a popular song. This one plays the entire damn song. It's like 3.5 minutes of them just walking around to different locales looking at things. Like, okay, well, you know what?
We get it. Song at 3 different points.
They did have good chemistry though. The two of them, like in the montages where neither of them are talking and they're just like hanging out.
Yeah, that was nice. It was just strange that they would play the whole song.
Well, I think because this is probably a good time to mention this. They did pay a lot of money, the filmmakers, to secure the music rights for this. The entire budget for the film, according to my research, was about $300,000. So they paid an extra $300,000, literally as much as it cost to make the movie, just for the rights to all the songs that they got. So I think they probably just wanted to get their money's worth. Mm-hmm. You know, we better use like every single song that we bought the rights to and play like the ones that we think are going to be hits that the kids are going to like as many times as possible.
Was Nick Cage's plan to hide in the bathroom at the party, hoping he would run into Julie, a good plan? Because I was thinking, like, what if she never had to go to the bathroom? He would have just been sitting there.
I thought that was totally creepy.
By the logic of this movie, it worked, so yes.
Because what if she hadn't had to pee? You would have just been sitting in there for like 3 hours watching people smoke and have sex.
I mean, I don't know what, like, how else. I mean, I think it would have been creepier just for like filming a scene if he had just like waited outside the house until she had left. So I think they just needed.
No, that's true. Also, he's so like dopey and creepy in that scene. It's like let's get out of here. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Anywhere.
Kiss.
What are we gonna be doing? I don't know. Anything.
He's like, have a sleep.
Yeah.
In the montage when they're making out on the beach, like that got really uncomfortable. The way they were kissing, it was like open mouth, face patting, like just the kissing in general. There was way too much of it and became uncomfortable.
People didn't figure out how to kiss until like 93, I think.
Wasn't invented yet.
They had an idea. But it wasn't until let's see. What year did Get a Grip by Aerosmith come out? 1993. So that would have been the year I think that they figured out how to kiss.
I like them together as a couple. They're cute people, but there's not a lot of substance to their relationship. Like we're shown that they're in love with like the montage and them getting drinks and hanging out, but to actually talk, like what does Randy do besides take her to a new part of town?
I think they probably do some other stuff, Tyler.
What? Do explain.
Well,
not in the movie. She specifically says that they don't.
That's true.
Oh, that's right.
Not over the course of the movie. Nothing.
That's right. And then Tommy's
other than, like montages of making out.
Because they're on their way to do that at like the other guy's hotel room reservation
at the very end.
Like his evil plan is like he didn't tell her that he was gonna go, that he'd like reserved a room at like an expensive hotel where they would presumably have sex.
After that final scene, you know the following day that Randy's gonna come back to the prom to pick up his friend, and all of Tommy's gang is gonna have beaten him to a bloody pulp because they couldn't get their hands on Randy.
No, Fred. I like to believe Fred got away in that food fight.
Maybe.
Because
I liked Fred's prom hair, the bright
blue. Yeah.
And you know what? I liked Fred. I thought he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know,
I liked Fred.
He didn't really. I mean, he was a little. I mean, because he was playful with Stacy, but it like at times it did kind of cross over to being like a little creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the reason why they added that thing of her being like, oh, you are kind of cute, and kissing him, because they're like, well, if we just have him like
being
chasing
creepy.
her around and like and being like, hey, like the whole like that's gonna be weird.
The
also,
dress that Julie was wearing for prom, it was all frilly. It reminded me of the curtains my Nana used to hang in her bathroom. Just looked really weird.
Maybe they were the same. Maybe they were one and the same. I don't know. Like, just this movie's just a real mess in terms of like establishing any kind of like conflict, and then in like giving you a reason to like want things to succeed, because
it's no Fast Times. We'll say that.
It's no Fast Times. And if we hadn't had like a really good, I think we all agreed last time that Fast Times was a good like teen rom-com type movie. If we hadn't had the example of that, which also started with some establishing shots in a mall, it's interestingly enough, and featured people speaking sort of with like dialect of the time. If we hadn't had that as an example of like how good a movie like about teens in love could be, then I think it wouldn't be as egregious like how awful this one was. But I wasn't into it.
I don't think it's terrible. It's just not great.
I do think it's terrible.
I love in the prom when Nick is beating the crap out of Tommy on stage. Like, none of the band decides to intervene. They're just standing there watching. Like, I'm not getting paid enough to do anything besides sing, so I'm just going to stand and watch these teenagers beat the shit out of each other.
They're already Josie Cotton's band is definitely not doing anything besides like performing their 2 songs, collecting their paycheck, and leaving. There's no way they're getting involved.
Well, none of the chaperones do anything either. Like the teachers.
Well, no, why would they? This was back before there were a lot of rules about like
fist fights at prom.
How much fist fighting you do in school?
I feel like you could probably like you might actually like get seriously injured if as a teacher you like intervened in a fight. They're probably just like, no, beat the shit out of you, old man, you know?
Thank God there was that food table, because they would have not have gotten away without that food fight. So
well, and also it's like, well, it's also like she didn't really want to be with Tommy, I guess, but like him chasing, like I don't know, it's like the idea of him like chasing her down, like what exactly was he like? If she didn't want to go with him, like what exactly like would she be doing?
It's like a precursor to the classic rom-com situation where the only thing keeping the main characters together is superficial problems. Like there's no real conflict. They could just talk and solve everything. But
that's the thing, is that there could have been a real conflict if the writers had like spent more time like thinking about how to do it, because the idea of like him being a punk from Hollywood, you just got to make him seem more dangerous and maybe a little bit more uncouth. But they get along so well, like right from the beginning, that it just doesn't, and like they're able to overcome their differences like right away.
I don't know if anyone else got the DVD, but the cover, the girl on the cover is not Julie. It's Nick Cage's ex-girlfriend that he hooks up with in the bathroom. So they couldn't even have the decency to put the actress on the cover.
Well, he's not wearing that vest without a shirt in the movie.
I know. I was because he, like I said, he dresses like like the scene where he visits her. That was kind of a cute scene where he like visits her at the
at her family's
at the
restaurant,
health foods place, and he's just dressed like the Marlboro Man. He's not like wearing any kind of like punk outfit or anything. It's just normal. He wears normal clothes the whole movie.
When he and his ex hook up in the club bathroom, all I could think about was how unsanitary it must be sitting on that sink. Like, how many germs are in that room? Oh my god.
Well, you know what? That was kind of punk. I have to admit, that was kind of a punk moment.
True.
Let's have sex in like a grody bathroom. Where was that passion? The rest of the, because they're just playing. And again, I don't know enough about the punk scene in Hollywood in the early 80s, but I'm almost 100% positive that there wasn't like a new wave band singing like Million Miles and all these like really toothless, like really poppy, like top 40 type like songs. Like it didn't fit. Like they even had like extras wearing, like leather jackets with the mohawks and stuff. It's like these people would not be like hanging out, would not be tolerating a band playing music like
Probably
this
not.
if it's supposed to be like a punk scene.
What did we think of just Nick Cage in general as an actor? Like going from being an extra basically in Fast Times to a leading role.
I thought he was fine.
So dopey. He was so dopey.
Yes.
Like all of his words were just like slurred, and he said like one syllable at a time until he got angry and started telling her to fuck off.
Yeah.
That's not a way to endear yourself or try to win back your girl.
I can't see you anymore, okay?
Okay. I know what it is. I know what it is.
I know what this is. It's your friends, right? Julie, I mean, what is this? It's between you and me, not between the rest of the world, so off. Off for sure. Like, totally.
He even knows why she's breaking up with she breaks up with him, and he's like, this is because you're friends, this is because you're being pressured, and then he screams obscenities at her.
Yeah.
Like, these are red flags. These are red flags.
Yeah.
But
Nobody wants her.
He's super boring and just like until he gets drunk, and then he becomes not necessarily endearing. Like there's still a lot of red flags there, but at least like an interesting character. If he had been that goofy, like if they had started off the movie with like her trying to ignore him and him like showing up in goofy places and kind of being weird and quirky, like then it would have been kind of interesting from the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking actually. I was like, it would have been way better if like there was like a spark between them, but she still like wasn't interested because of how it would look to her friends. So like the whole movie is him like showing up like disguised as like the movie theater guy or disguised as like a fry cook somewhere, not sleeping on her front lawn because that was fucking weird.
Awkward.
But I feel like what he was trying to do was kind of rock like kind of like a devil may care like smolder kind of thing
like
in the early scenes, and it doesn't work great.
I think he was going for kind of like a James Dean quiet bad boy persona, but again, like you said, it doesn't really work that well.
His teeth bugged me the whole time.
They said that he filmed this before he got his teeth fixed, so this is the only movie where it'll be like that. Thankfully.
See,
I honestly
needed his teeth fixed.
Besides the music, I think my favorite part of the movie was watching all the different types of fashion. Because, like, Fast Times was also in the 80s, but I feel like it could almost be an any period kind of movie. Like, this is specifically 80s. Like, you could not take this out of this time period.
Mm-hmm.
And
headbands, popped collars, and it's funny because you mentioning like the Julie's prom dress, but I was thinking about like the outfit she wore to that first party. That's like, I'm sure there's like a wedding photo of like my great grandmother hanging on my mom's like on the wall in like my mom's study, where she's wearing like something similar to what Julie wears in that.
Or that
like
the guy she first talks to when at the party, he's wearing like the pink and neon yellow blue jacket thing. That looks like an outfit you put on a toddler. Like so bright and colorful.
Okay, now I don't want to talk about this too much, but I also do want to bring up again the subplot of Susie and her stepmom's rivalry to like have sex with Chip, the grocery store delivery boy. Because what was going on there?
So uncomfortable.
I feel like they just improv that scene at the pool because it like went nowhere. Like they could have if they wanted to do the plot, like make the dialogue sensual, but it was just sit the bags over there. Do you want to get a drink? You should know when to say yes. It's like,
I'm a little bit disappointed in you.
Yeah?
Well, we talked quite a bit at the party, and I watched you, and I believe in being direct. Skip, the time to do something is when the time is right.
So, what time is it?
Actually, it's almost time for Susie to get home.
He ends up having sex with her daughter anyway, so the whole scene was pointless.
Well, and it's like, is that like the resolution? Because it's like, are we supposed to be like, oh, I'm glad he made the right choice in that? Because I don't know that, like...
Yeah.
Like, that was just weird.
And the fact that
And also, like, fuck you, Mom. Like, go get somebody else.
She's already married to her dad. Like, they should have set something up, like, maybe she's, like, a gold digger, or she sleeps around.
Well,
like, it just came out of nowhere. Like,
well, wait a minute now, though. Here's something that I'm not sure about as far as that is, because I feel like there was some dialogue where she makes it sound like her husband, Susie's father, is dead, and that guy is...
No, he was at the party.
He was standing right next to her.
Around at the party.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But that wasn't her biological dad, was it?
No, I don't know. It wasn't.
I'm pretty sure, like her biological dad married that woman, and then the biological dad died, and then so she's literally living with like her stepmom and her step-step-dad.
So that, well,
I did not
I don't
get
even
that
sure
at all.
If that guy was married, because I don't
either.
think that ever comes up either. He might just be like a hanger-on, you know?
I thought that was her real dad at the party.
Yeah, I thought
maybe you should have paid attention.
No, because she explains. The mom explains.
Yeah,
like
she
ever
says,
since her dad...
Jim died, I'm her mom, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's such weird levels, like layers to this movie that it could have been like a really well-rounded movie, and it just wasn't. It just was like, confusing.
Well, it's like everybody, all of the friends, like if that one friend who like really didn't have that much to do got a subplot, then everybody should have gotten one. Lauren should have gotten one where she realized that Tommy was a jerk and she like is on Julie's side.
She was great.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah,
she was actually kind of a character. She was, I don't know, she had a lot more depth than the other characters around her.
Yeah.
That scene where they're all dancing in her room, I felt like that was kind of weird too, because at first I thought they were wearing bathing suits. Like, are they pretending to be at the beach? They live right next to a beach. We saw them at the beach at the beginning. Like,
it's just the 80s.
I don't know.
It's just Tyler. It's just the
well, wasn't this supposed to be just? This is more of my googling this movie talking, because this was supposed to be just kind of like a teen trash film to kind of just bank in on recent fads, and they had like, you must have this many scenes with boobs in them, like 4. It was literally just it was just going to be like a trashy film. But then, you know, they made it something like a little bit more substantial. And that's why you get that weird vibe, because it just seems like a normal movie. And then every once in a while, it just kind of punches you in the face with like, you know, like just, I'm suddenly uncomfortable. Oh, this is weird.
So general consensus is it's decent, but it could have been much better.
No, that's not the general consensus.
No, it's not the general consensus.
Bonnie and I think it's a decent movie.
Okay, so if you what's your percentage? What's your Rotten Tomatoes percentage?
I would give it like a 60%.
That's still an F in US like rating scales.
What about you, Bonnie?
Yeah, like a 60%, but like I'd give it like a smiley face for like still enjoyed it.
So like good effort. Keep trying.
Good effort.
You get a gold star. And the dissenters.
I'm giving it a. The only reason I'm giving it, let's go with letter grades. The only reason I'm giving it a D- is because it does have a good soundtrack, in my opinion. That's what I'll give it.
Harsh.
I am very glad that many of the people who were involved with this movie went on to have like better careers. I know Michael Bowen, who played Tommy, is like a regular in Quentin Tarantino movies.
And he's in Breaking Bad. He's the leader of the Nazi gang in season 5.
I know the woman who directed it went on to become the first female president of the Directors Guild of America. And she's worked on a lot of really good HBO original movies, like Introducing Dorothy Dandridge with Halle Berry. And she directed The Rambling Rose, which is a really good Oscar-nominated film. So she went on to have like a much better career after this. I really hate watching movies like this and then finding out that like everybody involved with it like never did anything again except maybe for The Asylum. So yeah, I'm giving it a D-.
And what about you, Rachel?
I agree with the D-. I did enjoy the music. I think the only parts of the movie that I did enjoy were parts where my emotions were being swayed by the music. Where I was like, oh, maybe this movie's not so bad. It's just the music. I'm just having fun with the music. This is not a movie that I would like recommend someone watch. And then when there's a movie that's not good, then you have to approach it from the like, is it a good drinking movie? Is it a good ironic watching movie? And this was too boring to be that.
Wow.
It had like 20 minutes of actual like things happening for an hour and 40-minute long movie. So it's not even like a drunk watch movie. It's not. It's just not a good movie.
The movie's only about an hour and a half long, and it felt too long. That's not a good time.
Wow. You guys are super critical.
I'm critical of this.
I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, wow. Okay.
I didn't either, Tyler.
Thanks,
it's okay.
Bonnie.
So with your 60%, let's say a D. I'll be generous and say my D is let's see, would aggregate to carry the 5. So I'm gonna say this movie has an average rating of like 50%.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's not gonna that might translate to like, you know, if you look it up on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's still rotten, but it's not like super rotten.
It's rotten, but it's not. It's no pocket ninjas.
Yeah.
What's the actual rating for this movie on Rotten Tomatoes?
It's got like a 73% or something like that.
And now it's time to move on to our final segment of the evening that we like to call
Movie Review Haikus.
Movie review haikus are the most elegant way to review films. Haikus are a Japanese form of poetry that have 3 lines. The first line is 5 syllables, then 7 syllables, and finally 5 syllables. So we just like to take the time to review the movie in this concise manner. So we have created a couple haikus of our own that we're going to now share with you. Who wants to go first?
I will go first. Okay, here's one I have. Anemic main plot, weird statutory subplot, plus side, cool montage.
Bonnie, do you have anything?
I've got a couple. My girlfriend dumped me, so I'll just stalk her anyways. Not creepy, for sure.
Alright, here's mine. Fist fight at prom. Cups are a major plot point. Food fights solve it all. You want to go again, Nate?
Yeah. Julie, your friends suck. Your parents are the coolest. Stop being the worst.
But how do you really feel? Bonnie?
I'm sorry, was that your turn?
No.
Okay, my turn. Valley girls rule the world, but what about Randy? My god, what a hunk.
Okay.
That's an actual line, by the way.
I have great 80s soundtrack. Modern English is timeless. bathroom sex is gross.
I feel like I should do like a response haiku that's like responsible bathroom sex is the best thing ever.
Go ahead.
Maybe put down some tarps or something. No, that was it for me. I just had the two.
Oh. Do you have any more, Bonnie?
I'm okay.
Okay. I have one more. A sweet teen romance, the start of crazy Cage hair. Yay, no abortions.
Yes. Yay, no abortions. That should be a line in at least one haiku for the rest of the pod.
Well, we haven't watched all his movies. There could be more abortions.
There might be more abortions.
I feel like
holding out hope.
Like, oh no, more abortions.
Bonnie, we have to work on creating more haikus so that Tyler doesn't get to go last every time, because he always saves the best one for last.
Oh, I do have the.
One side note: my favorite part of the movie was the clown doll that she slept with. Did anyone else notice?
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, I forgot about that. I actually had a note that just says "clown" all caps, underlined like 4 or 5 times. And she snuggled with
It's in the movie like 3 or 4 times.
And each time it gets worse. It
gets creepier.
Well, nothing will ever beat the clown from Poltergeist. So.
Well, yeah, but that's supposed to be a horror movie. You're not supposed to like that clown.
It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor for her relationship. This clown. She's so comfortable with it.
Society's gonna tell her that it's really, really
What
weird.
are the deeper meanings?
But it's kind of quirky and endearing, so it's okay.
All right, that is our podcast. You can find me on youtube.com/thewhedonfan and the number 1, or on Twitter @thewhedonfan and Facebook @thewhedonfan. Nate and Bonnie, did you want to plug yourselves for anything?
Yeah, I'm the Nate Zone over at Tumblr. You can also find me usually at the discount bakery section at any supermarket. I'm over there keeping an eye on when those scones go on sale.
Good to know.
I think that's about it.
All right, I am thebonstergirl.tumblr.com.
Okay. And Rachel?
It's Bonster, BON.
I am Nonamella at tumblr.com.
Okay. Next time, we're going to be reviewing 1983's Rumblefish. If you'd like to leave us a movie review haiku of your own, or just a comment in general, be sure to check us out on our various social media. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/enterthecage, on Twitter @enterthecagepod, and on Tumblr at enterthecage.tumblr.com. You can find this podcast on my YouTube channel, and we should also have it up on iTunes at some point, so if it is there by the time you're listening to this, be sure to subscribe and rate us as well. And now to close out with our outro phrase, it's time to put the bunny back in the box, but we'll see you next time on Enter the Cage. Enter the Cage is a Curious Manatee production. Executive producer Tyler Flynn, technical consultant Dave Rodriguez, logo design by Jen Ng, and theme song by Johnny D. Rod.
Good call.